Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chase here at Rocky Mountain. Thank you so much for checking in. Say hello to the new Fly Formula S helmet. And right off the bat, I got to give props to Fly Racing for not settling and continue to raise the bar when it comes to helmet safety in the off-road world. And with the new Fly Formula S, the big update here is their smart technology. So from a safety aspect, the formula has not changed as far as how it's constructed and all the safety tech that goes into this. And I have a really detailed product spotlight that you can go watch where I go into thorough explanation of all the safety tech that is built in. And I'm going to cover in this video. I'm just going to be a little bit quicker because I really want to dive into the new smart technology in this helmet and what makes it so unique. And before I did this video, I had a long conversation with Jason Thomas at Fly Racing because I just treated it like I was seeing this video for the first time, and the questions that I would want to have answers to, I got to ask Jason and he gave me those. And so I want to give you that information that you maybe can't just read on a piece of paper or on the bullet points to help you decide if this is the helmet that you do want to pick up. Now the regular formula, it's not going anywhere. So that's going to come in at a lower price point. So it's still there if you want to grab it, but a lot of cool technology. And really the two big standout features that the new smart formula is giving you. You can see right here on the back, you see this S? There's a chip that is just underneath that, and you can see that S that is flashing blue. That lets you know that this helmet is active right now. But the two big features that you're getting now is one, ride tracking. So with the Formula S, if you go for a ride, it will track your distance, your speed, your hard braking, your hard acceleration areas. You can see your ride on the Fly Smart app. So it gives you a lot of cool features as far as tracking your rides. You can share those rides with other people. And when you do buy the Formula S, the first thing you're going to want to do is download the Fly Smart app and then connect your helmet. It's very simple to do because all you have to do is just raise the helmet up and that will activate it. And then you just go into the app, you connect it via Bluetooth, and that's how easy it is to connect. But what you're also going to want to do, and this is the other and really the biggest feature of the new Formula S, is the safety aspect when it comes to emergency services. What this helmet can do, and I do want to point this out because this is a question I had, is there is a paid subscription that you would want to get all the safety features of this helmet. And I will point out what you give up if you don't pay for that subscription. That'll kind of help you decide, okay, yes, I do want to pay for it. It's really not that expensive. I think it's about $10 a month is what Jason told me, which I think is very reasonable considering what you're getting with this. But in the event that you crash, this helmet can do a couple key things. One, it can record impact data. So it'll show you, it'll give you a measurement of how hard you hit your head for linear and rotational energy. So you can go back and look at that data and know how hard you hit your head. I think that's awesome for parents. If you have a youth rider that is wearing this helmet and they crash, and if you're not quite sure if they hit their head, how hard did they hit their head, you can look at that information and it will tell you that. And you can give that information either to the doctor or to the paramedics when they show up if needed. So I think parents are gonna love that aspect. And the other big standout feature of this new smart app and what this chip can do is that if you go down and you have the subscription service, it will automatically notify an emergency service that will then call 911 for you and get help dispatched to your exact location. Now there is one caveat to all of this as well, is that you need cellular service for this to work. So if you go out for a ride and you crash, that chip can still record crash data, but if you don't have cellular service, unfortunately at this point, it's not gonna be able to call emergency services for you. But that's one cool thing about this whole setup is that this chip in the back, and it's all powered by Quinn. Quinn is who writes the software. So Quinn knows that this chip is capable of a lot more than what the app can currently do. And so what Jason explained to me is that over time, you're gonna see a lot of updates that are going to the Fly Smart app that will then just be automatically updated to the chip in the helmet when it connects. So there's gonna be a lot of other great features that are updated in the future with this helmet. And so he said that yes, the goal would be that down the road that they do have some sort of satellite communication so that you aren't dependent on cellular service to reach out to emergency contacts and services if you do go down. But here is what's so beneficial about this whole thing. So let's paint a scenario for you. Let's say you're out riding, you have the paid subscription, and you crash. So what's gonna happen is that your helmet, it's gonna know that you just had an impact, and it's gonna count down. And you can customize this in the app. You can set how long you want to count down before it's gonna notify your emergency contacts and call 911. It's gonna make all sorts of noise on your phone. Your phone's gonna be yelling at you, letting you know that, hey, I'm about to reach out to emergency services. If you don't need service, you can go in and just manually turn that off in the app. But if you do, after that countdown, it's gonna do two things. It's gonna reach out to the emergency contacts, and this goes back to the app. When you get the app and you download it, couple key things you need to do. You're gonna enter in the emergency contacts that you want notified if you do crash. You're also gonna put in all your personal information. Your name, your height, your weight. You're gonna put in your blood type, any allergies that you might have. There's a lot of information that goes into there, so that way, when emergency services are contacted, so what'll happen is signal goes off, and then you're gonna reach out. It's gonna go to an emergency service provider that is then going to call 911, and the benefit to all of this is that as EMS is going to your location, they're already gonna have all the critical information that they're going to want and need when they get to you. So if say you're with some friends, but they don't know what your blood type is and you're unconscious, you can't give them that information, well, there's not a whole lot that they can do. And Jason Thomas explained to me that it's about an hour-and-a-half average time before life-saving treatment can be administered to most patients when they have a life-threatening injury. And when you have that critical information already on hand, it drastically brings that number down. So the more information they have when they get to you, the better off you're going to be. And what's nice too is that, again, having cell service, you're gonna have your location turned on. When they reach out to 911, they're going to know your exact location when you do crash. So that's really the big update and what's so cool about this. And now, here's what you need to know. So let's say paid subscription versus not paid. What do you get with the two? What you're giving up if you don't have the paid service are two key things. One is crash data from the helmet. If you go down and you hit your head really hard, you're not gonna be able to see that data on the app. The other thing that you give up if you don't have the paid subscription is, you probably guessed it, you're not gonna be able to have 911 or EMS services contacted. What is nice though, is that even without having the paid subscription, if you do crash, it will still notify your emergency contacts that you did have a crash, and you can still use the SOS feature both inside the app and also, let's say you're out with a group, a friend of yours goes down and they don't have the smart helmet, you can actually tap the helmet 4 times and that will trigger the SOS, which will also notify your emergency contact. So those are the two things you give up really without the paid subscription is crash analytics, and you're not gonna have EMS called for you in the event that you do go down. But aside from that, there's a lot of cool technology that is built in. And I did ask Jason this, was another question I had, well, can you test it? How hard do you have to hit the helmet 4 times to trigger that? And so he explained to me that in the app, you actually have a certain amount of tests that you can do where you could sit there and hit the helmet 4 times and see it count down, and then you can turn it off. So it does give you the option to test the helmet out multiple times to just kind of get a feel for it, know exactly what you have to do in that situation. So a lot of cool technology. Like I said, I didn't cover everything, but that's really the key things that I would want you to know or that I had questions about with the new Fly Formula S. And again, props to Fly for doing all that. And on top of that, let's go over some of the other key features about the safety that is just in the formula by itself. They have what they call their AIS, which is Adaptive Impact System. And it's a 3-layer setup, if you want to call it that. You've got the 12K carbon fiber shell, which is super lightweight. And now look, non-biased opinion here. The Formula helmet, because I've had one since they first came out, is really hard to beat. I'm gonna say it's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite helmet. It's super lightweight, a size large is around 2 pounds 8, 2 pounds 10 ounces. So it's incredibly lightweight, super comfortable, awesome breathability, and yeah, it's just hard to beat. So if you ask me, it's always gonna be one of my top picks. But you've got the 12K carbon fiber shell. Underneath that, you've got their ConeHead EPS liner, which just like the name says, the EPS looks like a cone shape, and there's 6 critical areas. It's a dual density EPS, and what they've done is that in critical areas like on the side of the head right here, you can actually kind of see these raised portions right here. So you have those on the side, one on the top, and then in the back here, they've added additional EPS to those critical areas where you're more likely to have an impact to give you the most energy absorption as possible. And what's cool about that ConeHead EPS, it has a progressive impact absorption. So it's going to help being multi-density. It's going to help for your low and your high-speed impacts. And then the third layer of that AIS system is with what they call energy cells enhanced by RHEON. And there's 7 of them inside here. There's little blue things. I'll show you these in just a moment. But what's cool is that they have what they call an active strain rate. And the way it works is that when you just touch them, you can feel they're pretty soft. So they help absorb impacts at lower speeds. But the harder the impact or the more energy that is introduced to those cells, the more they firm up and they look like a brain or a maze. And the purpose for that structure is that for rotational energy, so when they twist, it'll slow down that movement. So, you know, we've seen MIPS liner systems in helmets for years. So those RHEON cells is a different way of going about mitigating and reducing that rotational energy. So that's really their whole system to give you the safest helmet possible. And then you can see a lot of cutouts in that EPS that go directly to the vents on the outside of the shell to give you as much airflow as possible. Another cool little, bit of information is when Fly first built this helmet, they always had this technology in mind. They just weren't ready for it when it first came out. But now, fast forward, since they came out with the formula, now they've got the chip inside there powered by Quinn. They've got the app, and I think there's just a lot more cool technology and functionality to come with this helmet as they come out with more and more updates. So if you have questions or comments about this, please do not hesitate. Leave those down below. We want to get those answered. And that's it. That is the Fly Formula S. To grab yours, click the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. We ship for free over $75. If you want to stay up to date on videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, if you like to give it a thumbs up, and you will always be up to date. I'm Chase, and we'll see you on the trails.